Maigsoon, ng gabi. Magandang gabi. Good evening. Buenas noches. Paliw ko sa taas sa gawas, dito sa sunod. Ang iyo lang doon, gamay lang sila doon. Yun pa yan eh, yung mga aktong na halos namin sa sunod. Paliw lang doon. Salamat. Mga yun pong pasensya sa tulog kagabi nga wala ko dali kay ako sa Davao kaya naging na ako namang dito. So karon akong ipawali ang mga tao asa ako. Ay para may mabili dito. Sorry kayo kay wala ko katin last 3 nights. Sunday, Monday, o Tuesday. Karon nagagwion mga ison ang ikaulong sa week of prayer. Ug ang mensahe karon nagagwion na giuluhan o the true seed of God. Ang tinuod na similyo sa Diyos. Nagsimtro niya sa Revelation 13, verse 16 to 18. So, nakailan mo ni Martin Luther? Isa nakailan ni Martin Luther? Dili si Martin Luther King. Mahina siya. Martin Luther. Mauna siya ang kumpare sa Katolik na nagprotesta kay na ibala niya na daghang mga dili mao sa doktrina. Kabalo mo magsun kung si tawag ni Martin Luther ng Satanas? Nasa tawag ng Satanas? Luther, who had good sense of humor, frequently referred to Satan as God's monkey. Unggoy daw sa Ginoo, unggoy sa Diyos. You know why? Anong itawag niya ang God's monkey? Gani mo si Satanas, hili ko ka lang, sige sa tinguha kaya sundugon ang buhat sa Ginoo. Sundog-sundog ba? Gaya-gaya. Ang Ginoo, nagtanong og trigo, siya nagtanong og sagot. Nagtanong gyapon, pero patok-on ang gitanong si Ginoo. Nya, ang Ginoo, nag-invite sa iyang mga anak to take the narrow gate and the narrow path. Si Satanas, iyang giyawha ang iyang mga sumusunod sa pagkuha sa lapad na dalan o lapad na puntahan. So, sunod-sunod siya pero i-opposite niya. Sigpit o lapad. Niya, God compares His church to a pure woman and Satan compares his followers to an impure woman. Baliktad niya tuminti siya. And finally, God has sealed with His God has a seal with which He will seal His children, while Satan has a mark with which He identifies His followers. Kalimutan nila nagpasalamat ang mensahe sa amin. Find us thankful. Actually, mawala siya ang isa sa uyukan darong nga mensahe ng Iso. Dear young people, and also sa mga hamtong, if there is one thing in the book of Revelation that has been the subject of this understanding, it is that of the mark of the beast. In fact, bisag karon tayo, kukuha ko sa iyong cellphone, inyong i-type sa Google ang mark of the beast. You will find at least 15 million references. Dami nilagay. It is literally impossible to read everything on the internet in relation to this topic. Pero kapalo mo kung usay mas interesting nga the most interesting thing about it is that there are thousands of interpretations of what the mark of the beast really is. Ang uban mayon nga ganitong barcode kasama sa mga produkto natin kay papalit. Ang uban mayon nga modo na ang mark of the beast 666 daw. Ang uban mayon pod nga kanang microchip nga gibutang sa kanang right hand sa tao. Actually kana din na mao mo igsoon. Kay kanang mga igon lang ang barcode o microchip. Kanang microchip flaps lang na para i-monitor ta ng tao sa kalibutan. Kaya bisag asa ka mo ato kag langog ma-track yan nila. Kasi kaya akong cellphone. Nagtuo mo kaya akong cellphone, nag-istorya Tagalog, why na naging sa tuwa. Naghan kayong naibawaan nila sa tuwa, nga watak kabalo, sa nila. Kaya ganun cellphone na ito, only ang ilang igamit, mura po rin microchip, nani GPS. So kung asa ka, kapalo sila. Kung sinsa ba na sila, wala na sila. O kung sa pa nila ng sa pangakunting ng mga pamahagi, wala nila lagi panghimo gano'n. There is not enough time to list all the interpretations that have been given in relation to it. Mao may importante kayo nga akong tunan kini nga topiko. But not in the light of Google, but of the Word of God. Mga igsoon, ang masabta na ito sa the mark of the beast. It is necessary to first identify the seal of God. Mao din na ito unahon. If we discover that what the seal of God is, it will be easy for us to know what the mark of the beast is. Kaya mausik lang yan na. Kanyang mga expert ito sa pag-detect of fake na kwarta, wala na sila nakusik o igayon ng panahon para magsabi sa mga fake na kwarta, perting na gana. Inoon, ginuha nila ang panahon na dako sa ilang kagulingon. Kung saan na pag-ina ang genuine na kwarta. Kung sa'yo mga marka o mga characteristics niya. Kung sa'yo na lang kayo sa dapat pag-detect, may kabalo na magkaon sa'yo original, kabalo na magkaon sa'yo tinuod na kwarta. So dali na kayo ma-detect kung sa'yo fake. Kaya kung imo itong sabihan itong mga fake, hindi ka na, di mapulog. Kaya nagkabugay na kayo fake. So, the first direct reference that Revelation makes to that seal of God can be read in chapter 7, verses 1 to 4. It says, "After this I saw four angels standing at the four corners of the earth, holding back the four winds of the earth to prevent any wind from blowing on the land or on the sea or any wind. Then I saw another angel coming up from the east, having the seal of living God. He called out in a loud voice to the four angels who had been given power to harm the land and the sea. Nag-ingon si Magson, do not harm the land or the sea or the beast until we put a seal on the foreheads of the servants of our God. Then I heard the number of those who were sealed, 144,000 from all the tribes of Israel." If we look closely to these verses, we can discover some essential truths regarding that seal. First truth, the seal of God is placed on the forehead of God's servants. And the second truth, the seal are identified as the 144,000. Now, dinuluman akong mga igsoon ang rule of interpretation that we have discussed in the series of messages. Itugot nga akong muskol. Tuguti na ang Biblia maghubad sa iyang kagalingon. Let the Bible interpret itself. Following this rule of interpretation, I would like us to read the Revelation chapter 14, verse 1. It says, "Then I looked, and there before me was the Lamb, standing on Mount Zion, and with him 144,000, what his name and his father's name written on their foreheads." In chapter 14 Revelation, we see again that the same group that was sealed in chapter 7. Bisan pa niya ang difference may gawas ng Exodus. While in Revelation 7, the 140,000 symbol of God's end-time people have the seal of God on their foreheads. In Revelation 14, the 144,000 have the name of the Lamb and God written on their foreheads. Naipagkasumpaki ba, no? Kung naipagkasumpaki. But when comparing the two biblical passages, we come to the following conclusion. The seal of God is the name of God written on the foreheads of His faithful. Moto yung ganina nga, find us faithful, kung ikantan na ganina. You might be wondering, magkakatap si Kutingala ka, Wexon, magkapakutan na kami yung na, saan? Nasa forehead, nasa aktab. tato ang pangalan sa Diyos diya sa nakatang. Naala ka ba? But first of all, you must understand that the Revelation is a book that speaks to us with symbols. When the Bible, and especially Revelation, refer to God's name, they speak of nothing more and nothing less than God's character. Makita na siya sa Exodus 33 verse 19 and 34 verse 6 to 7. Busa ang we can conclude that the seal of God is the character of Jesus Christ reproduced in the lives of His faithful followers. The seal of God is the reflection of divine principles in your life and in my life. Apan asa na ito makita ang prinsipyo sa Diyos alang sa akong ginabuhin ng padayan. We have already argued the commandments are that the commandments are God's eternal principle. Nakigali sa tanang igsoon, nakapakatarungan na tala nga ang mga sugo mao ang walay katapusan ng mga prinsipyo sa Diyos. In the same way, it is of the utmost importance that to know that when the Old Testament speaks of the seal, it relates it to a specific commandment. Kaya atong basahon ang book of Ezekiel, you will realize which of the 10 commandments is directly related to the seal of God. Sa Ezekiel 20 verse 12, nagingon, and I also gave them my Sabbaths as a sign between us, so they would know that I, the Lord, made them holy. And in Ezekiel 20 verse 20, it says, keep my Sabbaths holy, that they may be a sign between us. Then you will know that I am the Lord, your God. Di ba mga son? Natuwa ninyo? The Sabbath, the fourth commandment of God's law, is identified as a seal. Why? Because usually, a seal serves to identify someone or something. It contains the name, attributes, authority, and character of the owner of the seal. For example, every time you watch a president on television abusing to the Filipino people, say President Duterte, if you look closely, you will notice that in front of him or behind him is the seal of the President of the Republic of the Philippines. Di ba, makita niyo muna sa katubangan? Seal of the Republic, President of the Republic of the Philippines. Muna siya mga sunod. Seal identifies who is ruling the nation. As we read the fourth commandment, which tells us about Sabbath observance, we notice that it identifies God as the absolute ruler of His creation. Diba? Klaro kayo? Remember the Sabbath day by keeping it holy. 6 days you shall labor and do all your work, but the 7th day is a Sabbath to the Lord your God. On it you shall not do any work, neither you, nor your son or daughter, nor your male or female servant, nor your animals, nor any foreigner residing in your towns. For in 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth and the sea, and all that is in them. But he rested on the 7th day. Therefore, the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and made it holy. In Exodus 20, verse 8 to 11. The Sabbath presents us with God as the Creator who rules heaven, earth, the sea, and all things in them. The Sabbath is the seal that distinguishes God's faithful who recognize His sovereignty. In conclusion, we can say that the seal of God is the character of God reproduced in those who recognize Him as sovereign of the universe. As sovereign of the universe. By keeping the Sabbath, we recognize God as our Creator and Sustainer. Being that the seal of God is the character of God manifested on obedience to His commandments, then what is the mark of the beast? Para ato masaya na ato found in Revelation 13, verse 16 to 18. It says, it also forced all people, great and small, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hands or in their foreheads, so that they could not buy or sell unless they had a mark, which is the name of the beast or the number of its name. This calls for wisdom. Let the person who has insight calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man. That number is now 666. Para atong masabtan mga igsoon kung sa dunia ang mark of the beast, it is necessary to stop and analyze verse number 17. We notice that this verse seems to tell us about three things, different things. Of the mark, the name of the beast, and the number of its name. Bisan pa na when we read these verses in other versions of the Bible, we notice that three different things are not spoken of here. Atong tanawon kung yung sa pag-translate sa American Standard Bible, kaning verse, nag-iyon din mo isunod, that no one will be able to buy or to sell except the one who has the mark, either the name of the beast or the number of his name. Bantayan ninyo, the mark, name, and number of the beast are the same thing. Isa na siya mo isunod. These three elements tell us about the character of the beast. Busa, the mark of the beast is nothing more than the character of the beast or the Antichrist reproduced in his followers. Makita niyo na sa iyang mga sumusunod. Karakter niya nga makita sa mga sumusunod, di ba? So, dili po sa Ginoo, makita po sa katawan sa Ginoo, sa iyang mga sumusunod, kung unsa ang iyang karakter. Sama natin diri karon. Di ba? Labay mga palawag diri. Labay mga manig-review diri, nag-bisyo diri. Wala. Mo na makita, musunod ka sa Ginoo, makita ko nimo to sunod sa Satanas. Kung unsa karakter ni Satanas. Hinunuman nato may sunod. Sa unsang baagi ang disposisyon sa Dios makita diya sa iyang mga susunod. In obedience to His commandments. Recognizing that He is the creator and owner of everything. But then, how does the character of the beast manifest itself in its followers? Simple kayo. Placing the commandments of men above the commandments of God. Di ba? Ipalabi nila ang usay gikuan sa tao kaysa sa commandments sa Ginoo. Sa ato nakita mga igsoon, God established the Sabbath as the hallmark of His law. The Sabbath was kept by Jesus and the apostles. There is no Bible verse that teaches that the solemnity of the Sabbath has been transferred to another day of the week. Kapag mo ito ba kung sa ibuha kasagaran sa mga Casiano o simbahan, they have turned their backs on the Ten Commandments and set up another day to worship the Lord. Nagdahan kayo sila. Nagsimba sa Adang Domingo. Kung saan magkakawang bitaw na ito, ang definition sa stupid. Nakita na ka sa kamaturan. Nakita na mga ebidensya sa kamaturan. Pero nagpabiling diya po ka magtuo sa bakat. Muna definition sa stupid ba? So mga stupido na sila talaga. Nakakita na sila sa, kung mabasa na sa Bible, di nyo ka makasimbaw Domingo. Pero nabasa na nila, pero wala nyo nag-ibalihan. Nagpabiling diya po sila o magtuo sa bakat. Kapalaw na sila ng bakat. Pero ganong nagpabiling sila, kung kinawilin sila sa kalibutan, ay, hindi ako kasi bibiyon, hindi ako ka-inom, hindi ako ka-disco, di ba? Muna ilang ikabilihan. Nagkakaroon kung nakita na nga, dili sila makapabautismo. Kaya muna, nawili sa tubong-tubon. Nagkakaroon kayo. Pagkakang bilang na kapag na sila. Mismo ako nisulti sa ilahan ng mauna. Kung imong tanaw na ni, iba, mauna na. Kaya na sila. Bisig basihan na nato ang kalendaryo, asay pinakauna, o pinakaibig, pinakakapitong adlaw sa kalendaryo. Diha pa lang daan, makita na nila. The Convert's Catechism of Catholic Doctrine, page 50, says the following. Pangutana, what is the Sabbath? Kubag, Saturday is the Sabbath. Pangutana, why do we observe Sunday instead of the Sabbath? Kubag, we observe Sunday instead of the Sabbath because the Catholic Church changed the solemnity of the Sabbath to Sunday. So, asa man nakika ng Sunday? Sa Diyos o sa tao? Sa tao. Di ba? So, daghan na kayo nakabaluan na, kaya nga pero ignore lang nila. Kasi ako lang mismo, kung kabasa na ko sa Bible, kung ako lang ito wala ko dito. Wala ka lang. Ako yung ilublugan ng tayo. Paano mapabilit man na. Kaya ako man magpapagod nga, mamadyan mo na tawan, mapunyan mo makamadyan. Makamadyan mo na, isip balik. Diba? Walang dili mo. They have changed the Sabbath to a day man has established. As you can see, very rare people. Ayan, people. Sila yung people na rin. Mayap ka. Magdagan na doon. O para po sa doon. The world will be divided into two groups. On the one hand, those who have the character of God and live in obedience to His commandments. And on the other hand, those who have the character of the beast, the Antichrist. Ang pangutana mga iso, asa ka aning duhang grupong sunod? Ang first o ang second? Ang first, have the character of God and live in obedience to His commandments, or katong have the character of the beast, the Antichrist. Di siguro na ito, ha? God wants the character of Jesus Christ to be reproduced in your lives and in my life. God desires that in your lives the fruits of unexistence of complete obedience be manifested. So, itogog na lalong tamo sa istorya bakit kang Brenda. Kani si Brenda maigsoon, usa ka faithful young woman who decided to live in obedience to God without caring about the consequences. She was planning her master's degree with her classmates, which would be held in about 3 months. Brenda was happy. Not happy. Happy. She only had one class left to finish. So, happy ka siya. Isa lang ang klase niyang kulang. Humana siya. But upon registering the class, she realized that it must be taken on Saturday. Mga nangyayari. Wala, pinaantik siya. Ano siya yung teacher. Yang di-hangyo. Kung okay na ba sa tugutan ba siya na i-take niya o lain at lang. Yang i-explain na gano'n, muna. Pero, the teacher denied the permission. So, what did siya take? Brenda was unable to take the class and as a result, had to wait a year before she could graduate. So, isa pagkatuloy yung latong may son. Samtang nagpalit ang iyang mga classmates to earn their degrees, Brenda was attending a church to preach. Kapalo ba mga ison? Brenda, recounting her testimony, said, that day, many believed I would be sad, but it was the opposite. I was happy to be faithful to my God. I lost the day of my graduation, but I received the joy of living in obedience. Ano lang ito? Happy siya ako first, di ba? Happy ang igamit. Happy din. Karon, nalaasa sa Ginoo, joy. Ako lang isingit ng mga ito. Nakabalo ba ka kung sa'y karainan sa happiness and joy? Happiness of rejoice? Mula-mula karainan, no? Puro mo na malipay. Pero, sa akong pag-tuki-tuki mga ito, na ako kay karainan ng happiness of rejoice or joy. Sa una, kasi ako, wala akong kumalo, kaya kanin happiness or happy. Malipayon lang ka or happy ka, malipayon ka. Huwag ka na-enjoy. May nunduman ako. Pakala sa mong ex. Muna na ako nagpunta sa una. Malipayo. Muna na sila. Pero di may isang kaning happiness. Matihon lang ningi mo, depende sa nahitabo sa imong palibot. Kung positibo ang nahitabo sa imong palibot, malipay ka. Pero kung negatibo, di ka malipay. Nahala ka ron. Pagsugot ni Sharon Kanjandre, lipay kayo, di ba? Pero kung simba ko lang, isang lang simba ko, magamit na lang. Purya lang. Purya lang. Kung magbulag, di ba? Di na ka malipay yun. So, mauna siya ang kuha sa happiness. Mauna ang buong pasabot. Magdipindi kung unsa ang nahitabo sa iyong palibot. Pero kung negatibo ang nahitabo sa iyong palibot, hindi na ka malipay. So kung positibo, malipay ka. Pero kaning rejoice mga igsuro, kaning joy. Bisan pag unsay mahitabo sa palibot nimo, bisan pag nagira na sa daga, basta si Ginoong Hesus naa sa iyong kasing-kasing, matino ni mo permitin. So mauna ang kalainan sa happiness o sa joy. Kaya dili siya kaya happiness temporary lang to. Pero ang joy, eternal. Kung naa si Ginoong Hesus sa kinabuhi. Brenda is an example of what it means to recognize God as the owner and sovereign of everything. She is an example of what it means to receive the character of Jesus Christ and live in obedience. Karon na kagabiyon mga isod, I want to invite you to make a commitment to be faithful to God. Ask God to reproduce in you the character of Christ and help you live a life of complete obedience. That will be all. May gabi, happy midweek. Salamat.